Hello, dear friends. Greetings from the Czech Republic and Algeria. We are happy to welcome you again on ALLATRA TV Middle East. On the platform of International Public Movement ALLATRA was launched a unique global project called Creative Society. Within the frames of this project, people from more than 180 countries all over the world conduct social surveys to find out how people envision society of the future, where they would feel happy, the society without wars and conflicts. And in today's conversation, we have amazing guests from all over the world invited by Sarah and proving again that the theory of six handshakes is working perfectly. I'd like to introduce Sarah, my co-host from Algeria, and pass the word to her. Hi, Sarah. How are you doing?
Hi. Hi, Taya. How are you?
Great. Thank you. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. Hello, everyone. We continue on successfully testing the theory of six handshakes, which states that people on Earth know each other through six connections. And our today's guests come from really different professions, but they still are connected through their passion, through their persistence to really make an impact in the world. Please welcome our white, green, blue sustainability manager, Leila Olef from Belgium. Hello, Leila. How are you?
Hi, Sarah. Thank you very much for inviting me over. I'm quite well, thank you.
Thank you. And producer, pianist, and singer Ismail Yildiz. Hoş geldiniz, Ismail. How are you?
I am fine, thank you. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. So in our today's conversation, we'll speak about how do you guys envision creative society, and we will explore in further details this very particular point. Thank you so much for accepting our invitation, and it's going to be a very great and enriching conversation.
Totally agreed. And as always, before we start, I'd like to address our dear viewers. Please join our live conversations and feel free to leave your comments in our YouTube channel, share and invite your friends, and of course, post interesting questions. And at the end of our broadcast, we'll read them and ask the guests. And I'd like to start our conversation with the first question to Ismail. Ismail, can you please tell us about your passion and aspiration? What do you focus on while composing the songs, and how do you choose your notes to make it relatable and connect to the audience?
Yes, it's a nice question. Firstly, I love this word. Why I love this word? Because it helps to us for understand and do some things and create some things. It's component. When I try to compose some songs, I use it because there is some rules of the universe. For example, entropy. Entropy mean is everything should be minimum energy and maximum. I don't remember now, but like when you put water to your hands, it sprays at all place, and because it wants to be in minimum energy. And also it's in music also it's like that. When people hear something, they want to hear it basically, not complicated. For example, that's why jazz music doesn't have many listeners. So basically, it sounds like simple, but inside of this, it can be complicated, like a human face. For example, when we look at a human's face, we have eyes, nose, and mouth, and ears. But inside of our face, there are thousands different components, like look like that show look us like that. And in music also it works like that. How it works like that? For example, I want to show you also as an example. For example,
interesting.
Many people love this song, and on YouTube it has, I think, more than 3 billion views. It's at Sheeran, Shape of You, for example. The real main melody is this, and it works just 4 chords, but it sounds like simple. In deep of this song, it's not simple because the components are connecting each other with necessary components, and I used this idea also in life, and that's why when you connect me for a creative society, I say it's nice subject for talking about it, because word also work on this way, because when we have components and when we try to connect them each other, we can suppose us as a successful and some things like that.
Yeah, thank you, Ismail. It's true. We take something simple, put it together, and it comes something beautiful, wonderful, some masterpiece out of that.
Yes.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
That's very true. Yeah, and music especially has this effect and power of connecting people to each other. Like, we may not speak the language of each other's, but we can listen to the same music and we can get the same vibes, which is amazing. And I can see that Leila is working so hard to ensure sustainability and to reconnect people to the ecosystem. So I really am curious to know, Leila, what connects you to nature and what drives you to working so hard to solve environmental issues?
So at White, Green, Blue, our main goal really is to create that awareness. And it's not even just an awareness, as you mentioned, it is a connection. And it is something that we are capable of, and we are also capable of connecting with society, with other people, because it comes in the form of compassion. So this compassion is really what drives our knowledge, what drives our curiosity, especially in the scientific field. We're very based on numbers. We like to have our test results and set up experiments, and it's hands off. But the biggest changes come from the holistic approaches when communities are involved, and you hear the stories from a lot of the time in North America, the indigenous people, South America as well, in the Amazon, and how they've lived in nature for thousands of years and created everything that they've ever needed to have. And that's a connection we've lost in the modern world. So we really want to drive back to creating that again, and in a way that is applicable to how we live now, to our standards, to human values, and to a global economy and a circular economy in a sustainable world. So really impacting the world in a positive way, so not a negative way, reversing what we do currently, because we live in a fundamentally unsustainable world, and it's really difficult for any of us because we need to eat, we need clothes, to do anything in a sustainable way. And that's something that needs to change, and creating that awareness is very important to us. And it helps that music is on our side as well, because we have a lot of great artists, a lot of painters, just a lot of communities, even Youth for Climate with their climate strikes recently. We can see that our mission is getting closer to their goals every day.
That's very great, actually, to see how people are taking the responsibility to really change important things and to change the way that we are seeing nature. And we are truly reconnecting to nature and learning about how it is very, very important to be in harmony with it, because it's from where we come from. It's like it's where we belong, you know, we inherently belong to nature. And that's very amazing. Thank you so much, Leila.
Yeah, thank you. And I totally agree too, because if we talk about the creative society, we can't miss the point of the environment, right? If we want to live comfortably, if we want to be safe, we should breathe the free air. We should be in harmony, as you, Sarah, told. As you said, we should be in harmony with nature, with everything that surrounds us. And it's truly important. And thank you, Leila. And now the question to Ismail: how can music play an important role in creating awareness about something, about something happening in the world, about a cause.
I couldn't understand. Can you ask one more time?
Yeah, sure. Can you, from your viewpoint, how music plays the important role in creating awareness about some issue, about something happening in the world?
Yes, I see. Music is like internet. It connects people, but the beautiful side is it connects people with the sound, and it sounds like nice. And when you try to give some message for connect people, when you try to say something, you can say it with music, and it helps you actually, because aesthetic, people can't I mean, people will affect of it, because when it sounds like nice, and if it's nice, people will listen it, and when they listen
it attracts more attention.
Yes, and when they listen what you want to give them, it will be successfully sent to them. And that's why music is important for connect people, or create word, or make some situation. It's a nice way. Also, not only music, it's art, science, everything. But I can talk about music. That's why it's important, because it's the easiest and beautiful way to say some things to people.
Yeah, I agree. And it's a great responsibility of an artist, of a musician, what art he gives to the world, right? What topic he raises in his actions, in his songs.
Yes.
It's also a great responsibility.
Yes. It's like, for example, when you make a song, you are talking here, and thousands of people are listening to you, and they will, even if they don't understand what you want to say, because of music they will stay. But when you try to say something, if you don't give something to them, they will not listen. But music is easy way to use this.
That's actually very true. Music is a universal language, and everyone can understand the vibes and the emotions that they get from it. And any musician and any artist will obviously need a platform in order to express his art and in order to reach out to his audience. So, what do you think, Ismail, the role of the media in giving platforms to artists to connect them more to their audience?
They can make song. I mean, like it can be voice of that people, but if we want to give it many people, the lyrics and lyrics should be simple. Music should be effective in beginning. And people, singer or musician, or in this world, when they perform on the stage their songs or something like that, they can sing this main song on stage, and they can talk together in one place, and they can arrange or compose or write the lyrics, something like that. After that, when they have a song for using in all the world, they can separate it easily, because generally singers, musicians have followers on Instagram or YouTube or environment. You know what I mean? it's easy to separate it, and it can be useful.
That's very interesting. And Layla had spoken about how music is contributing to giving a voice for the environment and for sustainability. And Layla, I would like to ask you a very important question actually about how can sustainability contribute in peace building process, and how can we as a human contribute in this entire process of sustainability that will lead to peace building in the future?
Well, a lot of issues around the world today where conflict is involved are actually related to resource conflicts, so availability to fresh water, to food, even to healthcare, because a lot of our medicines actually come from nature. So we have this inequality where if you have enough money, you have access to everything you need and 10 times more. Whereas if you don't have the basic access to nature anymore. How many of our waterways are polluted? How many forests have disappeared? If we look at the oceans, how much plastic are we throwing into it and really just polluting the environment? So sustainability is there to create this balance between what we take and what we give back. So it would take away a lot of the conflicts in the world. So specifically at White, Green, Blue, we work with mangroves. So they are a special kind of tree that are a transition zone between the ocean and the land because they can grow in salt water. Now, traditionally, women's rights and roles were centered around nature and the nurturing and caregiving. So the communities where we help reforest and conserve these mangroves are mostly run by women, because they're the ones who are taking care of nature and it's giving them independence. So this is what creates more of equality between men and women in those states, giving them the opportunity to provide for their families, send their children to school while they are fishing, for example, or while their husbands are fishing, and providing for the kids. So this is something where a lot of conflict originally, they were in conflict zones because the forests had disappeared and the resources were gone. But as soon as we bring back these resources and the community has access to them, because it's a community resource and everyone has equal access to that resource, you see that a lot of these conflict situations actually disappear and more children can be educated. So that means more children can have the opportunity to build up a life for themselves and not fall back in this negative cycle of conflict, of poverty, and just really getting stuck in paying off debts and trying to just survive.
Yeah, that's very interesting. How can sustainability help us eradicate our current issues into reaching a more peaceful world? Thank you, Layla.
Yeah, and every word resonates inside what you said, Layla. Thank you. And you've touched so many topics. You touched this, the nature of a woman, right? And Mother Nature. And you told that a lot of women are doing this job, connecting with nature, and it is truly inspiring. And also you tell that resources on our planet, they are distributed unequally around the earth, and it's truly some issue of our modern society, and touched the topic of education. And we know that there are students living in rural areas with a lack of resources and family issues. And from your viewpoint, how do you think it's important to implement the fixed foundation of creative society, according to which education should be free and equally accessible to all? Should we create conditions and equal opportunities for a human to implement his or her creative abilities and talents? How do you think?
So the educational system, just like any other global system at the moment, definitely needs a big change. So I am not a professional in the educational realm, but I would say from my experiences that it does make a difference if everyone has that equal right to education. Up until a certain point, everyone needs to learn the basics of life. Everyone should know this is what a tree looks like. This is what a frog is. They need to know how to, you know, take care of their financials, basic medical care, and just reading and writing. Because if you can't read, if you can't write, today's world is very, you know, based around those abilities. And depriving people of that opportunity is depriving society to, you know, push further and grow even further. Without that, you can't have equality. If there is a population within our world that cannot read and cannot write, well, then how are they supposed to express themselves and fight for what they believe in and provide for their families, provide for themselves in a world that is completely based around academics and just, you know, communication, global communication online? If you can't read what you're clicking on, how would we be able to have this Zoom conversation in the first place? So it's really fundamental that everyone has access to education, and within that education, really focus on what we are passionate about. So do not force children to follow this strict guideline when, if they want to be a baker and they're really, really good at baking and they're very passionate about cakes, go and encourage that child to become a baker. If they love coding, encourage that child to go code. If you are passionate about becoming a scientist, like I was, encourage the child to become a scientist. So everything should be equal because we need all of the roles. And a lot of that is also still in the process of developing.
Yeah, true. And in nowadays society, it is a real problem that sometimes parents push their children to do what they are not passionate about, but they know that this job will provide them with money. And later we see people that are just like doing their job robotically. They don't have this passion. They don't have this desire to change, to improve, to bring something better to this world, to this society, and make a difference. Thank you so much.
That's very interesting actually to speak about. And you had pointed about educational opportunities that should be access to everyone, because it's very important for children especially to get the right education, because every individual will contribute in the future into building a society. And you had spoken also about communication online. You had spoken about so many important aspects that get me so curious to ask you about how can technology and educational platforms can be used in order to raise environmental awareness.
Well, again, Youth for Climate is doing a good job in that. So all of their marches have moved online. A good example would be Netflix, who recently, well, not so recently anymore, but quite a while ago, released documentaries called Chasing Corals, for example. So the bleaching of coral reefs, or Blue Planet, or Our Planet. And it just gives people the opportunity to connect to a world outside that they might not have access to. So a lot of people can afford to get a smartphone or a laptop and look at images, go onto YouTube, and really connect to what is out there in the world globally. Whereas most people, if they do not have the access to flights, like if we go back 200 years before the internet, you'd have to sail your way around the world. Not a lot of people would know what is a mangrove tree. Not a lot of people would have heard about the different music styles. And this is what is absolutely crucial when increasing awareness on any topic, but specifically environmental topics, is you're giving people the opportunity to see absolutely how stunning it is and how much nature we actually still have left. About 50% of the planet we can still save. And then the other 50% of the planet is either turned into cities, or we can, over time, restructure that ecosystem to provide nature to both value, to provide value to both nature and society. So there's so much we can still do, but this is something that you actively have to search, and that's where technology comes in, because that makes that search so much easier for people and decreases that barrier of connection to the outside world.
That's very important. Like, When you get into that world, when you can get the reliable information about what's happening, you can really aspire to be part of the change process that may happen. And I'm curious also to know your opinion about the role of the media in spreading environmental awareness, because it's very important. It is the one that most people have access to. What do you think the media right now is doing according to this particular point?
Oh, that is a little bit of a touchy subject. Some people really stand behind the doom and gloom and let's get people to panic and we need to act right now. While all of that is true, they're not highlighting all of the success stories. How, we've managed to find corals, for example, who are heat resistant. So there's hope for the coral reefs, but all we are hearing is we stand to lose 70 to 90% of our coral reefs, which would impact billions of people across the globe. We're looking at, the Amazon rainforest, for example. I'm always hearing about how it's being deforested, deforestation rates are increasing, and it's close to reaching its tipping point. All true. On the other side, Indonesia recently implemented a new strategy that has actually decreased deforestation amongst farmers and local communities there, because they have new sustainable methods of going through the palm oil systems and taking care of their lands and agroforestry. So not going back to the monocultures and having to increase their land every time because they're decreasing their yields. So that's another success story. We hardly ever hear anything about the good news in Ethiopia and how many millions of trees that they have planted. But at the same time, we're looking at, oh, wow, okay, these big brands, they're still using palm oil. And it's like, of course they're using palm oil. We don't have a lot of alternatives available right now. So it's very much of a give and take. So the sensational doom and gloom, a lot of panic is really active in the media. And for a lot of people, that can be very inhibiting. It's very demotivating. And they might think like, okay, well, what can I do? And you can do a lot. Because if everyone would do a little bit, that is huge. If everyone would stop using plastic bags, that's one small thing, we wouldn't have plastic bag pollution anymore. And that's something that I would say the media needs to refocus on, is also creating that responsibility on themselves to motivate people and not only demotivate. So spread happy and not only fear. But of course, we all know that fear sells, so we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, it's very important to show the entire picture, not only a perspective of the picture, and every individual matter in the process of solving environmental issue. We can act as, we can hold ourselves accountable as individuals, and our collective actions will get us to really find effective solutions and act upon everything that's happening in the world and solve it. Thank you, Leila.
Thank you, Leila. And again, our main topic is personal responsibility. Everything goes to it. Personal responsibility. We shouldn't pass it on others, right? If I can do this, if I can stop using plastic bags, for example, I should do it, right? And it touches everything. And now, since we are today talking about the creative society, a society of the future where you and your families will be comfortable and happy, I'd like to ask Ismail, how do you envision a creative society, a society without wars, conflicts, where you, your family, your loved ones will feel safe, free, and happy?
How I imagine it, basically, it's not like utopia, it's not like 100% great world, because it can't. Human mind also ready for some kind of that we say bad things. We see it in every day, and but if we live with that thing in the many less, we can say yes, now it's okay. But technically, like great world is impossible, because there should be also some bad things to for people work for good things. For example, now why we are talking, because world had some bad situations in the past times, and now we are trying to not gonna happen again. And in my mind, if we had enough components, not about nationality, religion, and language, some things like that, it will not be war, also racist people, or because it comes from the control of power. They want to have power, that's why they use those things. Because we see also in many governments, they use national emotions for stay together, and when they stay together they also separate with other people. But if we don't use those things for stay together, it also doesn't separate us. But we can have all people can have different ideas about many things, but it shouldn't be in about religion, about country, about language, about something like that. It can be about idea of, for example, I love classical music. For example, I don't like music. It should be about art. It should be about science idea. It should be about art idea. But if we give those ideas to people, it will be better than other world, because there can't be only good things in this world. Because I read in one book that and she was saying, if I kill my devils, maybe I will not need two angels. And it's like that. There will be always some bad things, but we should use bad things on the some things that doesn't hurt people.
You touched an interesting topic. It's the duality of a human being. So each of us has this angel and has the beast, right? And it's just a question of the choice. Who I give my attention, whether I feed the beast or an angel within me.
Sure.
Whether, human nature, that each of us has inside a good part, the angel part, let's say.
Yes.
And this animal part, the beast, right? Who always wants, which is greedy, or for me, this egoistic.
Yes. Freud said about this ID. They say, I know it. It's true.
And well, that's what you described. And the matter is who I feed, right? Who I give the energy, my attention, whether to unite people and bring something good in this world, or make conflicts and think just about myself.
Not only who, also some things. Before I will talk about who, after that I will talk think. Who answer is my family beginning, and also the people that I lived with them together when I was Erasmus, because you live with them and you see that what people teach you, they are not absolutely true. And when you learn it, stay in your mind like an idea, and it grows up, and you say, yes, if it's true, I can follow this idea. And my family, I have 2 brothers, and they always says when you use your when you are honest, maybe you can lose some things in short time, but you will win in long time. And even if you don't win in long time, if you will die in the end, and you shouldn't die as a right. You should die as a good person, because if you there's not something worth to break people heart, something like that. And that things make me follow create nice word. And also think, what is that thing? It's music. Music has many different means for me. I love it more than I think everything in this world, because it has a sharp truth. For example, when you talk people, they can lie you, they can do some things, unnecessary things, and you can understand it, because it's not clear to understand and see them. But music is 100% sharp truth, and immediately it feedbacks to you. And this thing make me a fighter for create word like that, because when one person make mistake, it reasons to another mistake, because they are connected. If one person make one mistake, it will continue. And but if we and in music there is some things like that, because it's already sharp. It's a science. There is no illogical movement behavior, something like that. And if word happens, something like that, we will not afraid, because we will know what will happen. We will know what can we do for future. We will see our future. We can plan for our future. But when we can't see something like that, like music, it's not natural, truth, honestly, something like that, we can't see the future. And that's why that things are some power I can bring with myself to change the world, or imagine a better world.
It's very interesting to speak about the first point that you had declared, which is how people are being taught. And in creative society, we have a foundation that is transparency and openness to the information. So all people should be having access to reliable information in order to be able to process the correct and the truthful informations. And in regards of connecting you to your audience, in regards of connecting you to your people, it's very important as well to have the values of honesty, of truthfulness, because at the end, through music, you are truly conveying a message to people. And there is nothing more important, nothing more noble than conveying what is true. And I really congratulate you for doing this amazing job. And I would like to ask you, Leila, in which society you will be living happy and prosperously?
Oh, so my dream world consists of, I think, a mutual respect between the environment and people, but also within people. So it doesn't matter what culture you come from, it doesn't matter what gender you have, and it doesn't matter what sexuality you have. So really honing in on celebrating diversity and differences rather than shunning them, and realizing that all of these differences we see between us as humans, we can see mirror images in nature also. Nothing is perfect. So evolution is a driver to be the best version it can be in that moment. But sometimes the best version we can be in that moment is, managing to get out of bed that day, or not punching anyone in the face because we feel really angry. So having respect for those cycles and those differences, everyone's feelings, and the connection with nature. So respecting that we take from it, so we must give back. And that would be my ideal world, specifically also where I can scuba dive and be in the oceans a lot. That would also be very awesome.
It's really important, actually, and magical to get this reflection that we are getting from nature, because at the end there is a very important. There is this feeling that whenever you are in the green, you are in the blue, you really feel that you know this place. You really feel that you are connected to this place. It's not something that you may get lost in. It's not, if you go to the beach, if you go to the ocean, if you go to the desert, you can't get lost because you know all these colors and you know all of these creatures and species that exist, and that is very amazing and magical to feel. And how do you envision the reconnection of people with nature in creative society?
I think everything you described between humans as really valuing everybody's life. So every single human life has equal value and is incredibly valuable. So implying that would also extend to nature. I think that we should definitely start to include and try to understand the consciousness that lives within other species. Because if you search the news for last summer, for example, you'll see that a mother whale, a killer whale, an orca, carried her dead calf with her for more than 2 weeks because she was grieving she lost her child. So this does stem from a higher consciousness than humans would put onto a different species. So I think with a creative society, really extending that connection and realization that there is higher consciousness within other animals as well. And there's so much we don't know. So just having that basic form of respect for everything that is alive and being grateful for it to be there and to have that interaction with it so that it can support you by feeding you fruits and vegetables and feeding your family, whereas you can support it by respecting it and allowing it to grow and live alongside you.
Mm-hmm. Thank you so much. And we have been speaking about really interesting concepts, from embracing diversity to really conveying interesting, noble messages to society, to reconnecting to nature and using music as a tool for that. And what do you think? Like, there is a very important question that we always ask our guests, which is which values humans and which value the connection between humans at first place and between also all creatures that exist on the world. What do you think that is that one particular element that unite all humans and unite humans to nature and all creatures on the world to create a harmonious, a connective, and a collective world?
The scientific side of me would say DNA. But to go into a more tangible substance, I would say empathy and compassion. So being able to put yourself in someone else's shoes would be my main guess, that every single species is capable of having some kind of reflection of where it is in life, in its life, and how that relates to other life around it. And that connection is something that the compassion and the empathy is something that we need to grow and work on.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, Leila. And what do you think, Ismail? What unites all creatures, all species, and humans in a world to create a more harmonious and peaceful world for all of us?
I have two answers. One is also about science. I am not scientist, but sometimes I read about it. Also, when I was high school, I was studying in scientist science things, and there is a theory, and it says it's about quantum. It says strings theory, and we are all frequency actually. One of them this, and we are all connected to each other from the beginning till the end, and it's deeply connect each other, all everything, even stuffs and humans creation, something like that. But except this thing, one thing connects each other, all people. It's that what we need. Because humans thinks firstly what they need, they do some things for it. And for example, why mainly now in this world it's money. It's simple, easy answer. Also in La Casa de Papel, when I watched it, the professor was saying which things help us to stay together. They said football, they said love, they said some things, and after that they said money. Yes, it's money, because if we need some things, we can use this with this thing, and human in the either there is Maslow pyramid. I think everybody knows it. Most people knows it. And in the down, it says that first we think about our physical things, what we need about it, and when we are thinking, we sometimes live in dreams, sometimes in real world. For example, why I'm going to job? Because it's not my hobby only. Because I need money for stay alive, for stay strong, for talk with brave heart, brave heart. Because if I don't have that things, I know that most of people will not care about man. They will love. They will do some things like that. And if I want to stay with people, I mean, if I want to unite with them, I should first think what I want with what they want. So the real answer, one, frequency, and it's about strings theory. Second, what we want.
Mm-hmm. And actually, creative society was designed to solve this issue of lack of resources for every human. Like, we would like to establish a world where there is access to multiple opportunities, where there is tolerance between people, where there are effective decision making, and that will help people thrive within the society and provide them with everything they need in order to thrive. Like, the most important element in creative society is the individual, and every individual, you have to give him input so he can give you the output, right? So the input is going to be all the opportunities, all the necessary resources this individual is going to need in order to be an effective member of society, in order to go for their passion, in order to not be always stressed about the way he's living, the way life is taking them, the way he should be providing for their families. Like, we would like to really emphasize on this aspect, how it is so important for every single individual to have all the necessary opportunities and all the necessary elements in life, so he can exercise his passion and we can live together in a creative society of peace. Because it's really important, before we can speak about being peace with each other, we need to be peace within ourselves at first place, and we can't be at peace within ourselves if we lack something, or if we're stressed about something, or something bad is happening in our lives that has a relationship with lack of some certain resources. Thank you for this very interesting point. And actually, we had spoken about very also other interesting concepts in regards of diversity, human lives, and the free thinking of people. And now we are going to talk about the 8 foundations of creative society that Taya will present to us.
Thank you, Sarah. I couldn't summarize better because you just mentioned everything. It's truly important to have this opportunity to grow personally. We need to have our basic needs covered, so we don't bother with them. And now I'd like to add that on allatraunites.com recently there was published an article which is called 8 Foundations of the Creative Society. And I just give you a short presentation of them. And please, dear viewers, our dear guests, you are more than welcome to visit the website and read more information about these foundations. So the first foundation is human life. The second, human freedom. The third, human safety. The fourth foundation is transparency and openness of information for all. The fifth, the creative ideology. The sixth, development of personality. The seventh, justice and equality. And the eighth, self-governing society. And may I please now ask Leila to choose one of them. Maybe you would like to add a couple of words and open this topic wider to share your vision.
I really like the personal development, so the personality development, mostly because we can't achieve anything if we don't know ourselves, if we don't train our skills, if we never practice anything, if we don't trust ourselves, and if we can't function as a being within a greater being. So I really do like that point of focusing on ourselves. And that comes back to previous points I've made of taking responsibility for our actions. So we do make a difference because all of the small things that we do throughout our lives, they add up. And you can make that difference and make that choice to do what, I wouldn't say what you're supposed to do, but what you believe in and what you value, and really stand behind that. And that freedom to do that would be absolutely amazing. It would solve a lot of our issues today.
Thank you. And it corresponds with what you were saying previously before about the education, about the access to the education for all people around the world, for the all children, and it should be accessible, and we should have this access to it. Thank you.
That's very true. And you had spoken also about freedom, and you know that freedom of thinking is a very fundamental value that all people may have, because it's very important for you to think for yourself. And when we think, the probability of us growing is high. And because in this life, you need at some point to really explore your ideas. You need to know who you are inherently, and you can't know that unless you think about all these important elements that get you to discover who you are and discover your connection to other people. And what about you, Ismail? Which foundation is interesting for you?
Freedom, human freedom. Firstly, we should know what's freedom, because we can describe it in many ways. For me, if a person thinks that he can say his ideas naturally, but without like bad words, and also people who can create a life for himself, and that a civilization that we are worker of civilization of universe. That I have read an article 2 weeks ago. The Russian cosmologist, his name is Kardashev. He has died actually, but he says that civilization have degrees, and now we are in second degree in civilization. And in this civilization, workers of this civilization, humans, and humans' freedom should be, he should feel happy. Not, he should be happy, because how can you know that you are happy? If you feel, it's true for you. And about freedom, we should give enough opportunities to that people create their own life. For example, they can want get married, make family, or travel, or buy home, buy car, or try to be something like some people who wants to be. And we should they should have enough power to use this. But also freedom shouldn't be like they should do whatever they want, because if everybody acts like that, the world will not be a place that humans can live on it. So with education, we should teach this to people, that working is necessary, and also it's a positive thing for us, for create our world. And a human doesn't afraid for try to explain his emotions, his ideas about politicians, world, countries, people, or ideas like everybody doesn't want to talk about it. And when humanity have those things, they can say, yes, we are free. But it's also not 100% true, because it changes. It's up to other people. For example, when a human lives, for example, in a country, and in a country the government is like dictator, and he has enough things, for example, money, but he can talk about ideas. But if he says, yes, I am free, not that it means it's free. If he feels free, it's good. It's good thing for him. But actually, it's not, because if you can't talk about what you think, it's not. You can't describe yourself as a free. But we should have a real target on this to describe it, and it's civilization for grow up, and human that talk about everything without using unnecessary words, because when they use it also like breaking other people freedom, because there is a sentence in Turkish we say, my freedom ends when your freedom barrier begins. It's something like that. And people should have enough opportunities and power for those things.
True. The freedom of one human shouldn't violate the freedom of the other human. And if you let me, I will read the description of this second foundation of human freedom, and it will be clear. Every human is born with the right to be a human being. All people are born free and equal. Everyone has the right to choose. There can be no one and nothing on earth above a human, his freedom and rights. The implementation of human rights and freedoms must not violate the rights and freedoms of others. It's exactly what you were speaking about. Thank you.
Thank you for you.
Thank you so much for all of these interesting points that we had spoken about. It was really great to really convey a message of individual responsibility, of freedom, of sustainability, and of how can art can contribute into improving the society. And I would like to ask you our final question. Would you like to live in creative society? Leila, do you want to live in creative society?
I think so. I can't say a definite yes, as never experienced it, but it sounds quite utopian. So I think it would be a good place to be. Yeah.
No, it's all about the adventure, and adventures are all about the journey. And creative society is a huge journey for us to reach happiness, love, gratitude, and togetherness. And so we should learn to enjoy the journey. And I really loved your answer about experiencing things and all. What do you think, Ismail?
I also think I would live, but I don't know how it will be because, like I say, we didn't experience it. But if there is music, I can stand everything.
And to find out how is it, we should discuss. We should open the discussion and work on it together. And I'd like to thank you, our dear guests. Thank you, Leila and Ismail, for this wonderful conversation. And I would like to thank our dear viewers. And dear friends, if you would like to participate in our live conversation, please send your emails to uae@allatraunites.com. And also, please join the project on Allatra International Public Movement. And please visit our website, allatraunites.com, where you will see the big red button, which says join. You choose the language you speak, and you choose the way how you would like to participate in the project. Leave your contacts, please, and our volunteers will contact you. And please visit the website allatraunites.com to read the article, The 8 Foundations, and participate in our project. I'd like to pass the word to Sarah.
It's actually great to explore the 8 foundations of creative society so you can know more about the values of the society that we would like to build. And we can't build creative society without your ideas, dear friends. So please share your ideas with us. The more you share with us your ideas, the more we can reach more people, and we can really explore the potential of building a creative society as fast as possible. And share our live broadcast using 2 hashtags. #Creative Society and #Allatra Unite, and see you very soon.
See
Bye
you.
bye.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye.